Hello everyone, my name is Joe Scorsone, channel's called Scorsone Enterprises, and today I have something that I think that you guys are going to love. I'm clicking around a little bit right now. I got a backtesting framework that I wrote in Rust. I wrote it in Rust to backtest things using the DataBento API. Somebody on this channel, on my comments, actually asked me a while ago, like, "Hey man, you ever gonna write anything in Rust?" And I was like, "Nah, don't think so." But here we are, right? A quick why I wrote it, why I wrote it in Rust, why I wanted this thing, why I chose Rust, and then we're gonna get into the code. It's all on GitHub for you guys. I'd appreciate the stars on there and stuff like that. But yeah, we're gonna talk about it for a little bit, just a little conversation. So I wanted to do a backtesting engine thing for YouTube. I wrote one in Go a while ago, but for some reason the C++ videos just always do better than everything else for some strange reason. I want to just code in Zig and Python, a little bit of Go, stuff like that. I don't want to write C++, but you guys love it. So I write C++. And it's not that I think C++ is a bad language. It's just that whenever you want to do something cool with C++, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that just comes with it that I just don't want to deal with. I don't want to write header files. I don't want to learn CMake. I've never used it before. I don't want to learn anything like that. I barely use makefiles, right? I don't want to do that. I don't want to use header files. I don't want dependencies to be a nightmare. I've never even tried to import a dependency in C++ like Qt or DataBento, right? And I don't know if I ever will. You know what I mean? If I don't have to do it for like a job, I don't know. And modern C++ with shared pointers or smart pointers, whatever, is in my mind synonymous with Rust.clone, right? I didn't write it in Rust because I did write it in Rust because I wanted it to be fast, right? I wanted it to just be performant, so I wrote it in a language that is performant, right? And I wasn't gonna try to have every micro optimization, right? I knew that from the get-go. I just wasn't gonna write it like that. If I was gonna write it in C++, I would use smart pointers. I'm writing it in Rust. I'm using .clone in places, right? I just want it to work. I could care less about squeezing out a bit of an optimization, right? And so then I needed a DataBento API, right? And so I didn't want to use C++. Python is slow, and DataBento has a Rust one. So I figured, why not, right? Just why not? I'll do it. And honestly, I get it. I get it because while a little weird, if you write anything in Zig, then writing something that you have to still deal with the garbage collector and stuff like that, but it has RAI, research acquisition is initialization, it's just a bit nicer. It's just a bit nicer to not, okay, I want to make a candle. I want to make a data structure to represent a candle. So I make my struct and then immediately write my init and my dinit. That's just like, it's good because it forces you to follow your memory everywhere it's going. But it's also annoying because you're following your memory everywhere it's going. Time and place, in my mind, this isn't something complicated enough for me to want that kind of control, right? Also, this is a Rust project. This is something to write in Rust. Hella file reads, right? Because CSVs, hella file reads and writes, iteration all day, parallel stuff, not necessarily async, but parallel, if you know what I mean. I'm just, it's not like I'm spawning threads. I'm just using Rayon to do something in parallel. Every backtest, you get the parameter combinations, right? If you have like a window of risk values for take profit and stop loss, and for like indicator lengths and stuff like that, just get all the parameter combinations and then run just, that's the only thing that needs to be async, right? Getting the data and like the file paths, that can just be what I'm saying. I don't have to spawn threads. That's my point. I don't have to spawn threads. I don't have to use a thread pool or anything like that. So in my mind, that's just nicer. If I were to write this in C++, the way that it's synonymous to me, I'm going to make these comparisons to C++, is writing a Lambda function and using std async, right? Like I'm not like it is async, but like by nature it is, because I'm doing stuff at the same time. It's parallel, but it's not like I'm spawning threads and I have this thing running in the background. It's just like, all right, I'm doing all this stuff now right here, just do it, and then visualization, right? I wanted a big window to come up to plot everything. And so I have to plot something, Python, right? But I didn't want that. I didn't want to have to use two languages just to do, in my mind, this is not that nuts of a thing to want. Like, it is a project, it's a respectable thing. I'm proud of what I did, but it shouldn't be like nuts, right? There shouldn't be much bloat to it. Like, yeah, it's over 1,000 lines, but it's because it's Rust and you just use more lines for a lot of stuff, right? But yeah, and so I'm using Iced for the visualization. I followed along however long ago I wrote that text editor in Iced. I chose Iced for a few reasons. I didn't want cross-platform to be an issue. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. If at some point I want to make this really complicated, then like just a simple 2D plotting library like plotters or something like that, I didn't want to feel constricted by that. So Iced, right? I didn't really care about how heavy or anything like that like it was. I just wanted it to work and be pretty. And so yeah, Iced. So I think that's a good little chat about it. We're gonna go through and yeah, I'm gonna show you guys how I think you should use it. Yeah, so this is my Twitter. I'd appreciate it if you guys give this a follow. I pretty much just yap on here. Some Batman, right? Some trades. Nice little closer here. Alerted this at 72, closed it today at 88. Pretty nice. This is my algo that I made in collaboration with Lux Algo. You guys get two indicators with this. You get these machine learning levels and this machine learning prediction. Obviously, it does help me a bunch if you subscribe to it. And yes, I did use the algo in the entry. And yes, here is the repo for the backtester, right? So in my mind, what you would do, I'm obviously not gonna clone it and stuff like that because I wrote it. You would just somehow get it into a code editor, right? If I move my face, I got nothing up there that is modified, is new, right? This is what you get. So let me make this a little better for you guys. I'm gonna close that. By the way, if you use VS Code, I'm too impatient when I'm building stuff to like have had learned NeoVim and like Vim motions and stuff like that, which I know is terrible. But if you just need something new, like I gotta change this theme pretty soon, but file tree on the right side, do it. But so yeah, here is the main function, or the main file. Here's the main function. And obviously I'm not gonna show you guys mine, but you do need to make an env file, right? Obviously it doesn't come with one, but I have a sticky note where that button is. That's why I'm like dodging. But just make an env file and make it. I have it in the repo. Right, just make your variable like that, and then set to be whatever your key is. So yeah, that's just all you would have to do on setup, and then you're good. So what are we actually doing here? Well, in the main, we're just defining our start and end dates, our starting equity, how much we're going to put on each trade, making our client, our DataBento client, just historical stuff, right? And then we're fetching and saving a CSV, right, with that client, whatever data set, whatever symbol, whatever schema, start and end. And then we're calculating the benchmark, which is just a buy and hold, like it would be a buy and hold of ES. Getting our equity curves, well, just initializing the vector. Getting all of our parameters, getting all those combinations, and then getting our results to be, just getting all of our results, just getting our new strategy, which we're going to talk about more, running our backtest, and then, now that we have all those results, we can then go through, print out some nice stuff, push the results equity curve to the equity curves, and then plot it with all of that, right? So I wanted it to be abstracted out to a good level. I wanted it to be so that way you could clone this, and it comes with a moving average cross strategy, just like as a little filler. Obviously, it sucks, but we're going to modify this a little bit later on. But I wanted there to just be like a kind of consistent framework, and I wanted it to be pretty flexible. So I wanted to go this way when I talk about it, but we'll see how that goes. This file is this file is writing everything to the CSV, right? So we're going to make a new client for whatever data set, because if it's futures, we need to get the continuous contract. If it's not, then we don't need to do that. Also, no option support, right? I'm just not going to do that right now. Right, so yeah, we're just making a new file name with the symbol, schema, start date, and end date, and getting our client, making that file if it's not already there. Because if it is already a thing, right, if we already have that file, then we already did this request. If we don't have it, then we got to go through, make our client, make the file, make a writer. DataBento uses a scaling factor. It's like some sort of something in the compression. I'm not going to pretend to know what's really going on with that, but we just have to scale everything to -9, right? Well, it's not to -9. The exponent is -9, right? It just ends up being a gigantic number, so you just have to scale it like that. But so yeah, for whatever schema, we have to save things differently. And so if it's open, high, local is volume, then we just need the dates, open, high, local is volume, right? If it's MBO, this is pretty granular. Graining. I don't know. Pretty it's like as fine grained. I don't know. I'm not sure why I want to use that word so much, but it's as fine as you could get in the order book. So just a few more things there. Well, at the top level, well, not really. It's like trade by trade. Regardless, this is just right. We're just going through and we're storing it based on the different schemas, right? If you have something where there's different levels to it, like in the order book, then top level stuff, and then if we have different levels, then we have just loops for the top levels, right? Same thing, pretty much nothing too fancy here. We're just reading and writing, not reading. We're just writing based on the kind of schema that we have, and then returning the file path or the file name, whatever. Excuse me. Right. Let's talk about the plotting really quickly before we get into everything else. It's just a window. Like when we run it later, you guys will be able to see that we're just making a where do I want to show you guys this? Aspetta. So the way I wanted to talk about it is, yeah, right. We're just making a canvas, and then we're just drawing the we're just drawing each equity curve on it, which is a little nuts that we need a 500 line file to do that, but is what it is. And we make it so that way the colors will go rainbow if there's like too many backtests. But yeah, we're just making a nice canvas, drawing the lines and stuff around it, making it nice and visually pleasing, and then drawing each equity curve line to it, right? Now, here is the backtester. This doesn't do one thing that you would think it does, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. All this does is calculate some statistics about the backtest itself, like the returns, drawdowns, win rate, profit factor, stuff that you would want to know. No ratios like Sharpe ratio or anything like that, because in my mind, if you're not going to actually do it with correct risk-free rate, don't do it. And I just, at least in a version 0 or a version 1, just not going to do that. But yeah, then we're just going to run the backtest. It runs it with any schema. And then we have this get schema handler, right? And this handler it's really useful because it'll convert whatever schema we have into a candle with the correct fields, right? Because in strategy, we have this candle right here, and it has fields, which is a hash map, right? The date is the date, right? I wanted that to be what it is. But this hash map, that is so it can be more generic, right? I didn't want to have to deal with, because we have the schema handler as well. I didn't want, and we just insert the field, right? I didn't want to deal with not reusable code, right? Because when you use it for one, some of them don't have open, high, low, close. Some of them don't have close. The thing is called price. I didn't really want to have to deal with that, right? So I just have a few switches, and I have this aspect of it right here, just using a hash map to insert all the fields that I would need into each candle. Each candle has its own hash map with whatever fields, instead of each candle having like open, high, low, close, and then some of them have like ask price, bid price, this and that. Instead of literally having a different schema for each, just put it into a hash map, right? Again, I'm not worried about those micro optimizations, and I don't even know if I would do that if I was, right? But yeah, this is reading the CSV and then getting every field and putting it into the candle. Yeah, and so then the backtester goes through. We have all of these candles, and we're pretty much calculating the results of the backtest, right? We're not actually managing the backtest. That will be done in the main, in what you want to do. And so then this is the benchmark, which is just simulating buy and hold, right? And then, yeah. So let's go through, and now let's talk about the main, right? What we're actually doing. So this is what I'd actually want you guys, well, in the main, I guess, is what like I'd actually want you guys to implement, right? And so to do that, we are going to actually change this up a little bit so that way you guys could see how we actually go. So I'm not going to worry about the comments, but let's make a volatility. Yeah, let's just make a new strategy, and it'll be a volatility strategy. So we still need, why are you still yelling at me? There we go. So we still need each parameter pretty much, fast, long, take profit, stop loss, all that stuff, right? But now when we're going to make a new one, we just need a different helper function, right? We're going to go based off of volatility. So we need a standard deviation function. We're going to commit the cardinal sin. We actually, never mind. We're going to commit the cardinal sin, and we're going to use standard deviation for volatility, right? So we actually still need a mean. Yeah, I'm tripping. We still need a mean. So we're going to say mean gets that, and then we got to get the variance. So let variance get that dot iter, and then what do we got to do? Dot map. Yes, I have a reference there just so I could write this all quickly. I would not be able to just whip out variance. I'd have to look at the formula. Keep going through here, and then sum, not like that, and then we need float 64s over data dot length as float, right? Cool. And then variance dot square root. Why are you yelling at me? Mismatch type. Expected that, found that. Well, sir, I think you're tripping. I do want to call it standard dev too. Am I out of my mind? I should just actually read error messages. Okay. But so now that is what we're actually going to do. Actually, what we're going to use in this, our on candle. Because now instead of using the mean, we're going to use standard deviation, short and long standard deviation. So now we could do some comparisons, right? So if the short-term standard deviation is less than the long-term standard deviation, that's a buy. And if it's greater, then that's a sell. That could stay the same. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, cool. Now we're going to come down here. I still want to do it on ES. That's fine. Different parameters. That's good. Let's change this risk a bit. Let's use 10% and 15%, I guess. I don't know. Right. Now, this is just where we get all of our parameter combinations, and then we're going to run each backtest. And so now, if you were going to, oops, that's all my GitHub stuff. If you were going to actually run this like for the first time, it would take quite a while, but it's okay because I wrote it, right? Oh, I don't know if I said it, but this is an Ink product as well. Oh, this will actually take a second because it has to request the ES data. But so yeah, this is an Ink product. Scorestone Enterprises is going to have an app eventually. Still working on it, getting some stuff. I have an appointment tomorrow. Moving through, right? It's happening. And that'll be an actual, like, the big thing, right, for me. And it's what I'm going to hope, ideally, what I'm planning on making the most money off of. And then these Ink products are kind of like eyeball grabbers, right? So just stuff that I want that I think other people will want. Like if whether or not I had a YouTube channel and had like an internet personality, I would make this, right? So there we go. And there we go. Keep talking about this a little bit after. But yeah, this is the window that ICE makes for us. And so, yeah, obviously, the backtests aren't great. It's just a simple como se dice? A simple volatility strategy, right? And also where it's there where it says MA, right? If I were to actually do that, I could say like fall instead to have a proper label. And so because this is again to have it work with different parameters and stuff like that, and so also it'll be way faster now that we actually have our ES data. So there we go, very quick. That's just very nice. So yeah, vol, and then we could turn them on and off whenever we want. Where is that one? There it is. Oh, because these two are the same. Yeah, that's the project, right? So I don't really know what else I want to say right now. I kind of ran out of steam like halfway through. That was weird. But yeah, this is the project. This is InkBack. It's another Ink product. The first one was an actor model I wrote in Zig. This one is a backtesting engine that's written in Rust. And oh yeah, one last thing I wanted to mention is that handling the risk in the actual, oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? In what you're doing, right? Not in the backtester. So that way, right? So this check right here, you could have whatever other logic you want, right? I didn't want to actually constrict you to like a fixed take profit and stop loss. You could use drawdown if you wanted to. You could use actual logic in your indicators, right? Instead of just fixed values, which using fixed values doesn't make much sense. But yeah, that's what I made. That's InkBack. So things that I want to do in the future for this is probably a better handling of like order entries is on like this candle's close. That's not how it works. It's on the next candle's open. But again, just for simplicity, I also want to perhaps add options into the future, but that would be so annoying. Like this stuff is just straight price action, right? You don't got to worry about symbols too much. You don't really have to. It's not hard to aggregate the data, right? But I'm not sure how I would do it for options because you have a whole chain. I suppose it would just be some really. I suppose like on the request to get all the data and put into the CSV, you could just like set your strikes Maybe just allow like one strike. I don't know. But yeah, that will probably be something for the future. Maybe I know that DataBento has a lot of data sets. Right now, I only support this one for the equities and this one for the futures. I know they have other ones like Opera, right? But yeah, was a fun project. Let me know whatever you guys think about it. What you got? What features you guys would like added to it? Check out the repo and stuff like that. Check out my indicators with LuxAlga. Make sure that you subscribe and follow my Twitter and stuff, or my X, whatever. So that way you guys can know when the actual web app is out, when the Discord community gets made, when everything like that happens. Yeah, appreciate you guys for stopping by. Everybody have a good day. I will see you in the next.